Here we are with another helping of everyday psychology to satiate your curious minds. According to the statistics, only a small percentage of you who watch our videos are actually subscribed. So if you haven't, and at the end of the video you enjoy what you see, do consider subscribing. It would help a lot with YouTube's algorithm in promoting more of our mental health content. With that said, let's delve right in. Do you constantly feel like whatever you say falls on deaf ears? Are you puzzled with why people ignore you all the time? What if it's due to something that you may be doing? It's a truth universally acknowledged that having good and healthy relationships can make you a relatively happier person when compared to others. An environment where you're constantly getting ignored can have a negative effect on how you think of yourself and others. This is especially true if you're not aware of why they do so. Do you think there may be some habits you might have that cause people to ignore you? Before we begin, please note this video is intended to help you gain awareness about this, addressing possible reasons why people are ignoring you. It's important to keep in mind that this is not aimed to put any individual in a bad light. Having said that, here are 5 habits that might have been causing people to ignore you. Number 1, you don't listen to others. Do you feel like you tend to speak a lot more than other people do, or that you only talk about yourself? If the answer is yes, this might be a reason people ignore you. Constantly talking about yourself without letting other people get a word in can annoy a lot of people. It shows that you're not concerned about the other person's point of view. Relationships thrive on a give and take principle. If you want to be listened to when you talk, you have to listen to others as well. Of course, the reason you talk a lot does not necessarily mean that you're not interested in others. Maybe you have a lot to share, or you think that having other people leading the conversation could be a hassle for them. But people actually love to talk about themselves, and you taking over the conversation may give off the wrong impression. Number 2, you criticize too much. Are you someone who wants the best for their close ones and always tells them what mistakes they've made? If this is you, you have a truly admirable and caring mentality. However, a lot of times having this mentality can lead you to criticize people too much, especially if you only focus on their mistakes. The impression of being someone who only knows how to criticize will eventually lead to you getting ignored by everyone, even if you have the best intentions. This is not to say that you should let your loved ones make mistakes without saying anything. Measured criticism is important for personal growth. However, throwing encouragement and compliments into the mix can help mediate the severity of the critique. Number 3, you're full of negativity. Is the glass always half empty for you? Have you ever felt like avoiding someone who usually only says negative things? If the answer is yes, then you know how people react to negativity. When you are constantly complaining or saying negative things, then that could be a reason people ignore you. According to a study, people avoid negativity at all costs since it can actually affect others' moods and overall well-being. So it might be a good idea to take a quick reality check and make sure that you're not a source of negativity for your social group. Number 4, your presence doesn't grab attention. Do you feel like people don't pay too much attention to what you say, even when they just met you? The reason people ignore you, even when you just met them, might have something to do with your public presence and your confidence levels. Studies show people tend to be attracted and pay more attention to those who have high levels of confidence and make a positive first impression. So if you feel like your presence does not grab enough attention, taking steps towards increasing your levels of confidence might be a good place to start. It's important to work on your body language and how you approach people when you engage in conversations. These factors are key to making sure that your presence is felt and people start paying attention to you more. And number 5, you overthink what you're going to say. Do you consider yourself to be quiet during group conversations? Do you feel like the conversation moves faster and you can't find a window to hop into it? If so, the most likely reason why you feel ignored during conversations is that you're overthinking what you're going to say. It is very natural and almost everyone does it. When you overthink during conversations, you may get the feeling that you're participating a lot because of all the things that you're considering in your head. But in reality, you speak much less than you think, and people can get the impression that you're not interested. Therefore, others may ignore you simply because they think you don't want to socialize. However, rest assured that not everything is your fault. You can only control your own behavior, not other people's behavior. It is important to remember that doing the things addressed above does not make you a bad person. There is always a chance that those ignoring you are simply not interested. There is no need to change yourself for people who are not interested in forming a relationship with you. Instead, it's better to redirect that energy into people who are actually interested and care for you. We hope we were able to give you insight into some habits that might cause people to ignore what you say. Do any of these describe your experience? Which do you think is most potent? Leave a comment down below about your encounters with them if you'd like. Please feel free to share any thoughts you have as well. Also, would you like a sequel showing how to remedy these habits? Do let us know what you think. If you find this video helpful, be sure to hit the like button and share it with those out there wondering why others always seem to give them a wide berth. Welcome back. Have you ever heard the term smiling depression, high-functioning depression, or hidden depression? As these names may imply, this is when a clinically depressed person tries to keep the depression a secret from others. They often appear cheerful, successful, and seemingly put together, leading you to the belief that their lives are perfectly happy, fine, and without mental illness. Is there someone you think might be secretly depressed? Look out for these 8 telltale signs that they might have hidden depression. 1. They feel emotions on a much deeper level. Does your friend become emotionally volatile in response to a simple question or comment? Those who are secretly depressed will often feel things more intensely than usual because of how much they bottle up inside. They're more susceptible to crying, getting upset, or even having a full-fledged breakdown because they feel overwhelmed with the depths of all of their emotions. This swings both ways, being more affectionate and loving towards others while also more easily angered and saddened. 2. They're less positive and optimistic. Does your loved one, who used to be so easygoing and lighthearted, become cynical and pessimistic? They might be internally struggling with a lot of dark thoughts they're too afraid to share. They may adopt a more nihilistic point of view and become less positive and optimistic than you're used to them being. 3. They're obsessed with being the best. Depression, hidden or not, is often a thief that robs us of our ability to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. People with concealed depression will often throw themselves into their work in order to find meaning in their lives and make sense of their suffering. By overworking themselves, they get a sense of reprieve from their depression and distract themselves from all the negativity that they feel. 4. They have sudden mood swings. Depression isn't always going to look like sadness. Sometimes depression manifests as anger, irritability, and sudden changes in mood. Depression makes feeling happy and even enjoying things they used to love incredibly difficult. Their response is a tendency to lash out and become emotionally unhinged. There's just too much rage and desperation for them to suppress, so like a volcano, they let it erupt and throw tantrums. 5. They've started abusing drugs or alcohol. Occasional recreational drug use and drinking are fairly common. However, the red flag for hidden depression starts to wave when it stops being occasional and becomes regular, and then turns into dependence. The Anxiety and Depression Association of America, ADAA, found that approximately 1 in every 5 people who were depressed also had a substance use disorder. 6. They're always out of it lately. Is your usually punctual friend suddenly forgetting your lunch dates? Does your friend zone out more often than usual when you're talking to them? Difficulty concentrating and remembering is one of the symptoms of depression. The depressed person often has a hard time keeping their train of thought and struggles with finishing tasks, affecting their grades or work performance. They have difficulty with decisions and remembering recent events. They may even start to speak and move more sluggishly as a result. 7. They feel bad about asking for help. Does your friend tell you something's wrong, but then waves it away saying it's just silly or unimportant and they'll just deal with it on their own? When someone's trying to conceal their depression from others, they'll often send subtle cries for help that they immediately take back. They apologize for asking for help, even when they're struggling, and never want to burden anyone else with what they're going through. And 8, they always try to look or act happy. Do you know someone who's constantly smiling and cheerful, usually denying that something is wrong even when you know there is? They won't let others see them cry or be sad, so they make up excuses about why they can't see you much. Usually, when they think no one else is looking, the facade will be dropped and you'll see things aren't okay. Those with depression won't always show the symptoms commonly associated with the condition. Does this bring anyone to mind? Because of the negative stigma surrounding mental illness, Many patients often feel the need to keep their struggle a secret for fear that they'll be judged, shamed, or mistreated for their illness. If you know someone who you suspect is secretly depressed, you can do them a solid and show your support by reaching out to them. This may help them move towards getting the professional mental health care they need in order to improve. Paying attention to these signs could make you a lifesaver.